I totally forgot.
But let me also say this. I'm gonna get this threesome.
Everything we do reverts back to a threesome.
Hey, listen, just try to make
it. You can keep trying. You know what? I love your tenacity. Like,
listen.
Go for it. Go for it.
Hey, listen, them kids every
you might
year,
break me
here's
down.
the thing. Every year, when you're a kid, you put together your list for Santa, and you hope you get the bike.
You hope.
You go to sleep that night and go,
That's
hey,
right.
man, it'd be nice if I come downstairs and that bike is up under the tree. And even if you come and you look at the tree and you don't see the bike, you go, look, we in a whole big ass house. They don't always put the bike under the tree. It might be outside. It might be garage. The
hope is still there. Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
So just grab a hold of my hand and do it till the morning light.
After I do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another exciting episode of the most amazing. Can we be the most amazing podcast in the universe?
We are.
Look at you. Oh, don't let me find out you are my friend this episode.
You are my friend.
You are my friend.
Babe, you are tone deaf.
Am I tone deaf?
I think so, but
I listen.
I'll listen to it. Go ahead and say it.
The spirit of what I'm saying is what's important. Not the actual sound and tone of my voice.
Correct.
But it's glad to have you back because we haven't been buddies for a few episodes. Because
you know what? Life is life. Like, just because we're people, y'all have to understand, sometimes working with your spouse or whatever, it could be tricky because you still have to have a life outside of the thing that you're doing. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. That's the subject. Can we just roll into it, or you finish with your introduction?
Oh,
hey.
of finishing the introduction.
Go ahead.
You know, I like this version of you. Hey, give me some. I'm about to make me my jump off and my wife. Yes, Royale, your man Royale Watkins, right here. The hot
and I'm white.
Chocolate girl wonder is the most amazing. This is like the the most amazing co-host. So welcome to the show. So yeah, go ahead. What were you saying? You want to get into it?
I want to get into when you work with your spouse. Like, this is serious, and I also, because we're in this new realm of working together, empty nesters, and actually working outside of the house, how to make it all.
How you find the balance?
How do you find the balance? That's a good thing. Thank you. How do you find the balance? Because the thing that you're doing, if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing something with your spouse, that's very, very important. But how do you turn it off when it's time to have dinner or be intimate or just talk about other things? Because are you
say
still
intimate? You talking about sex?
Sex.
Okay, say sex. For me, I like sex. So intimate don't really work for me because that.
Sex.
I know what you're talking about.
Sex,
right?
Yeah. How do you turn it off? Like, especially if the business is in the house and you guys aren't physically driving or going to an office building. If the business is within the house, how do you transition from, okay, we're finished with work mode now. We may not have agreed, 100% in work mode.
Yeah.
We may have had a conference call. We may have some inventory we're not agreeing with, but business hours are over. Now we have to transition, which is just in the other room. What you want for dinner? I don't care. Because you might be a little salty about what happened in the other room, in the business room or the office. So I'm finding that as a interesting area for us because we are now doing way more together. We are empty nesters and transitioning into doing this 100% of our time. So I want to make sure that I'm able to compartmentalize everything.
Look at you, big word, April.
Now it's like
compartmentalize.
How do you say?
Compartmentalize.
Compartmentalize everything. That has a place, this has a place, and that has a place, and not carry over, especially if it's not good. Because I think the good times are easy to carry over. We just sold, or we just did, or whatever. Yeah. What you want for dinner? That's easy. I don't like your idea. That's whack. You said this. What you want for dinner? That's not fun. That's not fun. So it's a learning experience for me. And I have to check myself sometimes because what we're doing is very important, and because we are together a lot and we're talking more, and we don't have the interference of the children in the middle of, sometimes that helps you having the child. I gotta dip out and take them to soccer practice. You're able to get away for a minute to kind of woosah. You at the game, you're not there in their face, or the basketball or sewing or gymnastics. You're right there. So the kids, yeah.
People still sew.
Didn't I take Asha to sewing class right down the street?
Oh, okay.
She's, whatever the child is in, the hobby, the thing. Yes, kids, absolutely. Guess what? That's a whole nother podcast. Learn a trade. Yes, you should learn how to sew.
Stay focused.
I know. So I want to ask you, have you noticed anything about me in dealing while we're doing the podcast and blogging and doing certain things more together? Are there some signs that, or are there some things I can work on, or some things you can give me some?
Yes, I'm glad we're having this conversation. It's a lot you can work on.
Oh
We're gonna have
God,
a real conversation.
constructive criticism.
No,
without
I'm listen,
beating me up. That's all I'm asking.
I'm not here to tear you down at all, but to your point,
Okay.
There are things to learn on both sides of the conversation.
Right.
I think that one, I have to give you credit. You're doing an amazing job.
Okay.
Because it's easy for me to make some assumptions about how all of this is supposed to go. I've been doing this for the last 30 years. I write, I produce, I direct. Been doing stand-up forever now. And so it's just second nature to me.
Right.
And so I just expect that you, as my wife, having watched me do this all these years, you would innately have the same abilities, and that's unfair to make that assumption. And so on top of it, I'm very, sometimes I can be very heavy-handed when I think or feel strongly about the way something should go artistically. And don't do that. No.
Okay.
We're trying
Okay.
We've been doing good this
We've been
week.
doing good.
We had a whole communication. We talked through a lot of stuff.
We did.
And so
Go
we're
ahead.
getting-
Go back to your point. I'm sorry. But go ahead. You was going, everything
Yes.
you
No,
said,
no.
I can understand.
But look, the communication piece is important. I am learning that when you have a partner, then you have to be willing to come aboard the partnership, right? If you have a partner, we should put a graphic on the screen for this one. This is powerful.
That's right. Because
When you have a life partner,
Shit.
you should be willing to take the voyage. Bon voyage, pack your bag, wave goodbye to sea, because you are now boarding the SS partner.
Shit. Literally.
Capital S, capital H, capital I, capital P. The partnership. It should
Shit.
be a journey together that
Absolutely.
you both agree to work on.
Right.
Sometimes it's going to be a 50-50. Sometimes it's going to be 60-40. Sometimes it's going to be 90-10. It might be 99% to 1%.
To 1. Right.
I think let me tell you something that's kind of powerful. This is going to get a little deep. I don't want to get emotional in this episode, but
Oh, gosh.
No, I'm just saying, it's like when we're having a conversation about Royce and the situation that we went through, and the position that Royce put me in, just with the lack of information he shared and how that kind of played out, distanced me from him. That's clear, right? Pushed me completely away. I was very upset. I don't know. I can't remember when I've been that upset with Royce, and just the conversation that we had the other night when we were both in a better space to talk through everything.
Right.
And hearing you say that you had a conversation with Royce and the awareness that you had to love him enough for the both of us, because I just wasn't in a space to love him the way that I normally would.
You're going to make me emotional.
No, I mean, just listen. That was like, I'm grateful that we were in a space where our communication is the way it is, because like that was a lot for me. It's like, you don't realize when you're going through these things that, all you can do, you experience it from your point of view, whether it's selfish or not selfish. The reality is that you created this Grand Canyon of a gap between you and your child, or me and you, and ego and feelings and ideas and expectations.
That's
right?
a whole nother podcast. So
no, hold on.
I don't want to get too deep.
No, but listen.
Because that's the next one.
These expectations that we have when we make the sacrifices that we make, because again, expectations and sacrifice is a whole nother dynamic that allowed me, I got to bring this back to me, allowed me to put myself in a position where I alienated, one of my children. And the fact that, to bring it back to the whole point of this, the fact that you had the awareness and could voice to him that, listen, your dad is just in the space that he's in. And the awareness that in that situation, you had to pick up the slack. Now, there's been plenty of other situations where, there's been situations where I got to pick up the slack.
Of course.
But, I don't know, that was eye-opening for me. So, again, relationship, coming back to this boat that we're on.
Yep.
And, whether 60-40, 50-50, who knows what it's going to be at any given time.
Sometimes,
We just don't know.
If it's a comedy podcast, you know what I mean? Like, whoever has the most knowledge may have to pick up the slack, is the point.
No. For me, that's not the point. For me, the point is when you make a commitment to make a life journey with your life partner, you have to be open. You have to be malleable. You have to be willing to come to the table and leave your ego behind, so that you actually hear with both, not just with your ears, but with your life. I always say that. It's like, stop being so quick to hear everything with your ears. Hear with your life. And for me, that's what this is about. It's about coming back to the table.
Yep.
It's about being able to push away from everything else and say, we're on this thing together, and we're going to continue to work on figuring it out as we go along the way. Because somebody can give you directions somewhere, and you can think, oh, I got this efficient set of directions. I'm going to get there in this amount of time. And then as you go, things change. You don't know whether it's going to be a roadblock, construction.
Right. And now what you going to do?
Exist no more.
Right.
And weather things, conditions change.
That's right.
Conditions change, feelings change.
Feelings change.
You may not feel the same way about me a week from today as you did last night.
That's true.
Right.
The love will never change, but my feeling, at that moment could be totally different. Because I can love you all the time. My feeling is I'm upset. So I can always love you, but I'm upset right now. So getting back to working together, living together, trying to, figure out this new stage of our life without the children, and doing more together. And that means more of a partnership in business. Like we've always been a partner. And yes, the business aspect of running the household and making sure everybody's getting to their appointments and doing that. But now we're doing something together to monetize. Like we have products, we have, podcasts, we have this, we have that. And there's a lot of input from you and from me. And we have to...
And to value your input too.
Yeah.
That's an important thing. I know, again, it's easy for me to take my experience in this business as a counterpoint or an assumption of your lack of experience in this business, right?
And that makes total sense.
It's easy for me to say, well, because I've been doing this for 30 years, the fact that you haven't been doing this for 30 years equates to a lack of experience. But sometimes the lack of creates a desire for more information that's more valuable than somebody who's going to assume that because they've been doing it for so long,
Right.
thinks it should go a certain kind of way.
And sometimes that person that doesn't have that 30 years of experience brings a fresher outcome
The
or
millennials
outlook.
on social media is a
Yes.
great example of all day long. We've been
Right.
doing it a certain way for 30-something years, and now these kids come along and it's a brand new way, and they're running
killing it.
laps around
Right.
us
Right.
with this new way of doing stuff.
Yeah, because it's fresh, it's new, it's something you never thought of. So I appreciate that you
That's also
are.
the thing with a threesome. If you bring in somebody new, it's fresh. It gives a different perspective, and you can learn some new things. But that's a different subject. Go ahead. What was you saying?
I forgot. I totally forgot.
But let me also say this. Let me say this. I'm gonna get this threesome.
Everything we do
Gotta bring it back to
reverts
the
back
threesome.
to a threesome.
Hey, listen. Just try to
You
make
can
it
keep trying. You know what? I love
Oh,
your
listen.
tenacity. Like,
Listen.
go for it. Go for it.
Hey, listen. Them kids every
You might
year.
break me
Here's
down.
the thing. Every year, when you're a kid, you put together your list for Santa, and you hope you get the bike.
You hope.
You go to sleep that night and go,
That's
hey,
right.
man, it'd be nice if I come downstairs and that bike is up under the tree. And even if you come and you look at the tree and you don't see the bike, you go, look, we in a whole big ass house. They don't always put the bike under the tree. It might be outside. It might be
Right.
in the garage.
The hope is
surprise.
still there.
Yeah,
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. But
Oh, God.
this was another piece a component that I wanted to add to this conversation, which is in our society, we have this idea that when we get married, that the women work for the men, right?
I don't
And
know
so
who thinks that.
you what?
I said, I don't. Really?
Listen, you have the benefit of being married to someone who's always treated you like a partner. I've never treated.
Of course you're supposed to. I know
Okay,
in
but
my
what
head, I understand what you're saying, but in my head, I never thought any different. And I'm glad
Okay,
that
and are you saying that you've never seen different?
I don't know. No,
can
I
point to
have seen.
examples
Yeah.
all
I
day
have
long
seen.
where, again, in our traditionalist society,
Yeah.
it's
But
set
not
up
like-
for men go to work, women stay home, have the babies, cook the food, blah, 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 blah. And so because of that, there is this idea and misconception that men are in charge. Men run everything and women cater to, work for, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Men.
The in charge I see, but not the old days. You stay home. Everybody at work. Just about all my friends go to work.
But I'm
Everybody.
saying
Yes.
this is the new.
It's the new form, but
Right. We don't have the luxury of living the way people lived 20, 30 years ago where
Yeah.
a single
I wonder
income
why.
could take care of a whole family. We just don't have that anymore.
Right.
So
And I think women evolving has also changed. I don't think they ever wanted to stay home because there were a lot of talented, educated women
you don't
staying
think
home.
women wanted to stay home?
I would
If
beg
you
to
had
differ.
your choice today, would you rather?
If I was educated,
If I'm making $1 million and we don't have a desire, like we don't have the need for a second income, you want to go work for somebody?
I wouldn't work for someone. That's the thing. I would have something to keep me excited.
Well, that's
I
different.
would run
Whoa,
a
whoa.
foundation.
That's different.
I'm
Whoa,
just
whoa.
saying,
That's
not
different.
staying home. It doesn't mean that I'm working. If you did have, millions and millions, and I had little kids, I still
I just
would
want to
not.
be clear. I have thousands and thousands. So
Right.
I'm getting close.
I would not stay at home even in that case. I would have the kids doing something, and I would be out.
But
Nobody
are talking
wants
about
to
traditional
stay
work.
in the
Let's
house.
not.
Okay.
No. We're talking about we're specifically talking about a job.
Okay.
Go to work. Work is different from something
So
to
I'm
do.
gonna answer
Run a
that.
foundation. The boys
Yes,
soccer practice.
I
all
think
of
women
that stuff.
would want to go out because nobody, even men on my job, said that they stay home for 1 or 2 days. Nobody wants to stay home with them kids. No, I used to tell you that. I would rather be at work.
Nobody wants to stay home with them kids.
They don't. You will go.
What does that mean?
It's a lot of work. It's way more work at home with the kids. It's too much. I would rather be structured at work. I know I got deadlines. I got to do this. I'm at my cubicle or whatever with my
You got a
coworkers.
cubicle at your work?
No, I'm just saying in general, I would think most people out there in normal jobs have cubicles or office space. I would rather do that than stay home with the kids. And as much as I love my kids, I'd like the joy of coming home and missing them and giving them a kiss than staying from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No thanks. I've done it. It's a lot of work. And most women that I know, as soon as those kids get able and can go to first grade or kindergarten, they are
Get them out of here.
How you do it?
Put that pew. Get that diaper bag.
They're gone.
Take these snacks and get
Part-time
your
job,
ass
any
to
kind of job,
school.
they are gone. They can't wait because it's way too much. Because I think people are more creative. You feel like you can contribute, whether it's money or not. You want to go out there and feel like you have a part in this world. And that's where we were.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I got to the point where I was like, Roy, I'm going crazy.
So you're saying women want to feel like they have more value than just being mom. I'm way more than just mom.
Yes, that is a beautiful job. We do, the things we do, the good that comes out of it, you can't measure. But on the second hand, other hand, thank you. You only got two hands.
That's great to say. Because I was
On the second hand.
The third hand, if we get to.
On the other hand.
On the third hand.
On the other hand, it's just, you don't feel complete. I'm only talking about me.
Okay,
I didn't
man. We about to get to the meat now.
Complete. Yes, my job, raising these kids and teaching them morals and being at the school for them and the serving lunch and being at every meeting is great. But as a woman and as a individual, I didn't feel fulfilled. That was just one part of it. I was still very empty. I wanted something for myself, which is work.
Oh, wow.
I want to go out there. I want to make my own money, even though you provide for me. It's something about making your own money and getting your nails done, getting your hair done, buying the shirt you want, the blouse you want, and not have to account for it. And can you budget this? I want my own. There's something about that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with a person, male or female, wanting their own. It's a thing. And some relationships, the man or whoever is out making the money really becomes a dictator. You can't have this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And while you're raising these kids and you know that's the greatest thing on earth, you're still resentful because you're hearing all these no's and you can't do this and we can't do that. And you're like, I am a grown woman or person. You can't tell me I can't have a pair of shoes. You get to that point. And then it's like the kids versus the other side of the ego. It's like, what? I'm going to get what I want. I can't wait to get a job. And that's how a lot of people are. They can't wait to get away from that thing. Kids are good. I'm going to make my own money.
But let me go back to something you said, this idea of being fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you were talking, I was kind of putting this together as an idea.
Okay.
You come into these relationship or this marriage, you start a family, you have a child, right? Or children. Well, starting with the first one.
Uh-huh.
And then the second or third, or how many you decide. But ultimately, as the mother, you become the chief caretaker.
All right.
And you like literally have to give so much of yourself to these other human beings, right?
Yep.
So now you're wiping, changing asses, you're feeding, you're breastfeeding, you're trying to maintain a household, right? And
Making
if
them
they take a nap, you got like maybe an hour, depending upon what time one go down and what time another one comes up. But you literally have no time to yourself. And so now that they're up, somebody comes home, you're helping with homework, and now between homework and when your husband comes home, right, this idea of trying to prepare dinner, trying to get a fresh meal together and not some frozen Swanson's dinner.
Yeah, picking up some shit.
Yeah, or picking up something, clean podcast. Having something healthy for them, especially 5 days a week, other than pizza. And then, if you have a husband like me who wants to have sex on a regular basis, you just get people down, right? Kids in the bed. You just have enough time to collect your thoughts. And now here comes some
Brutus.
200 pound.
Yeah, gorilla.
Well, yes.
Like, you've been home all day. What
Who wants to jump up and down on you? right?
Correct.
You're not even in a frame of mind
Preach.
even thinking about this.
Preach.
But McGilla want to jump up and down on you and want you to service him, want you to be in the mood.
In the mood.
For it.
Correct.
And
Because
so
in their mind is, you've been home all day. You should be well rested.
you should be well rested and waiting for
Really?
me.
And waiting for you.
So my thing is, again, going back to that is like, yes, I get it now. And it's like, what do you do to try to make yourself a whole human being if this is what you're constantly trying to manage every day?
Preach.
Okay, so we should tell them to leave it in the comment section. What do you guys think about the idea of women and fulfillment, and how do you do what you need to do for yourself on a regular basis as a woman, as a wife, and as a mom, so that you feel complete or fulfilled yourself without other people having to bring that to your life?
And there's a second part to that. And if you do work with your spouse at home or whatever in any type of business, how do you keep a healthy balance? Because that's where we started. How do you keep that healthy balance between working together, living together, and being in a loving, committed relationship? So
All right.
that was the main.
All right, so we got to get to this Ask April. That was a very good conversation.
It was.
This thing goes so much better when you and I are on the same page.
It
Look at that
does.
smile. Ooh, you give me that smile right there. Ooh, I know I'm
God.
probably get something later, but that's a different thing. So we do have a question.
Okay, it's
and this
long.
well, that's what she said. But here's the thing.
Wow.
Okay. How do you get your partner to save? I think that's the basis of this, and we got to get through this one.
How do we?
My partner currently makes $7,000 monthly, but he has an issue saving. Since he makes the most, he pays the bulk of the bills. I do my part. I pay some of the utilities. He buys things for his family. He gives people $20 here and there. And we're fortunate that he can do that. He is very generous. He gets electronics or things that he wants. But my fear is that he has not established like a routine for savings. And I'm looking forward to us getting married and having children. Like, how do I address the fact that he is not putting together savings?
And they've had this conversation? Do you
No,
think-
they
Okay.
have not had this conversation.
Well, here's the thing.
She said, it worries me that he has poor spending habits.
Yeah.
That is a quality that I do not want in a husband.
Right.
She says, I am very happy, but I would be happier if I knew he was investing into our future a little more.
Right. I would definitely have the conversation. Sit down. Let that person know what you have been seeing in the last year or two, whatever you've been together, how the finances have been broken down, and you have a red flag or an issue, or you'd like to have some input in it. And I don't think it has to be as tragic as, I don't want it to be a tragic thing. If you are in this person's life, there's a way you can go about it and saying, hey, moving forward, you make this amount, I make this amount. How about, like, start with it as a good thing. Let's do a savings account. Let's do a Christmas fund. Let's do whatever it is to get that person to save for the year. Back in the day, there used to be Christmas funds at the bank. You could put $20 a week, and at the end of the year, you would have $1,000. So make it something fun and enjoyable. Your emergency fund, that's not fun, but it's needed. Say something like that. We need to have some money stashed away in case we need tires, in case there's a hole in the roof, or in case, somebody get laid off. You have to be realistic with the future, because emergencies will come up. And that's the way I would approach it. I would just cut to the chase. We need an emergency fund.
Listen, I would say two things, because I know we got to wrap up this episode. Focus on getting married, because I think you'll have a whole lot more leeway as a married woman to have a conversation with your husband about what you guys need to do in terms of savings.
Tee it up, though.
So, yeah, but,
Tee it up before they even get married, because if he can't do it, if it's something he's not willing to do, then maybe they won't get married.
Get married first, and then tell your husband we need to save some cash. All right, so y'all know what it is. Thank you. This is a great episode.
Yes,
I hope
it
you
was.
enjoyed as much as I
I
did.
did.
Y'all make sure to tune in to next week's episode. Like, comment, subscribe, spread the word, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.